Okay, now it's time for take a look at what is a control structure called selection. So we had three control structures and this is the second one. Sequence was that everything is done in a strict order. The first line of code first, and then the second and third and so on. So this is pretty simple control structure, sequence. Then we have a selection. So this means that we have a condition and we are going to do something depending of the result. So for example, in everyday life we could watch what's outside and see if it's raining, and if it's raining we won't go out. So our condition is that is it raining, and if it is, then we do something, and if not, then we do something else. So we select where we are going to go, and in programming we are selecting, are we going to go that way in a program or the other way. So like if this is the case, then we are going to do that. And here are a few examples. This is called this is not like any really a programming language. It's more like it's written, you know, like a bit way, the same way as a real programming language, but it's more readable, I think. So here's if money is more than 8 euros, then, so the condition is that if we have more than 8 euros, we go to movies. And that's our selection statement. So if we have more than 8 euros, we go to movies. If we don't, then this won't happen. So this is the condition. If we have money more than 8 euros. And here's the same thing, draw as a flow chart. So here's a condition. If money is more than 8 euros, if it's true, we have more money than 8 euros, for example 10 euros, we go to movies. So we take this path. If not, we go this path, and whatever happens. And this is an example of these both structures when they are used together. This mostly you won't see like a only program that is using only selection structure or sequence structure. They are all like a mix of different structures. So here's first sequence. We wake up, eat breakfast, go to school, study, go home. And here we select where we are going to go. If we have money, we go to movies. If not, we go to sleep. So this is like a example of how we mix both structures. And here are a few more examples. So if we have money more than 8 euros and less than 1000 euros, then we buy a TV. So this example shows that we can make like two conditions. Is money more than 8 but less than 1000 euros? Okay, you can't buy a TV with 8 euros, so it's not a good example in that way. But this is more example that you can compare like the same variable in a different way, more than and less than. Here's another example. So we have money less than 500 and 8 is more than 18, then we go to movies and go to restaurant. This example shows that we can compare money and age. It's okay to do that. And then there's an example that we can do multiple things. It doesn't mean that it only has like one line of code. We can have like 1,000 lines of code, or even we can have a new if statement inside a if statement. But in this example we have an error. If you try to think what the error is, and maybe pause the video, I'll tell you soon what the error is. So, if we have like, for example, 100 euros, so the first condition, money less than 500, okay, we have 100 euros, it will pass that condition, and age more than 18, okay, I'm older than 18 years old, so I go to movies and restaurant, everything is okay. But if I don't have any money, I have like 0 euros, money less than 500, okay, 0 is less than 500, so the condition is true, and I'm older than 18, so I don't have any money, I'm older than 18, I still go to movies and go to restaurants. So here's the problem. You should check that we have like more than 50 euros and less than 500 and age is more than 18, then you can go to movies. This condition allows to go to movies even without money. This is an example of logical error, and they are pretty hard to find sometimes. Okay, here's one example in different programming languages, so that you get the idea or picture how different programming languages differ. So here's the first one. If age is under 18, then drive a bike, else drive a car. So if we are like 20 years old, we can drive a car. But if we are under 18, we have to drive a bike, at least in Finland. And this in flowcharts. So if age is between 0 and 18, we can is true. So we are, for example, 15 years old, we drive a bike. So if we are older than, well, this is exactly, should be 17, I think, because if you are 18, you can drive a car, so there's a bit logical error there. This is Lua, language called Lua. It's used, for example, World of Warcraft. And as you can see, it's pretty close to this not real coding language. So there's if, and the condition is surrounded with parentheses, and then is the same, else is the same, end if is end. So it's pretty similar than this first example. Here's a C#, the language that we use. We don't have these then, end, because we use these curly brackets to say what happens if the condition is true, and else we use the curly brackets to say if the condition is not true, then this happens. Here's a PHP, the language is that it's the most used in websites, web services. It's pretty close to C#, as you can see. And then there's Python. Python is quite interesting because you often hear that Python is a very good language to start with. It is, it's quite simple, but I think the problem is that it's really different from the from the most programming languages. So the syntax of Python is pretty special, I think. But if you like learn C#, it's easy to start coding with PHP because they are so similar. Okay, then few examples in C#. So I make a variable, for example age. So I declared the age variable and I set the value of age, for example 18. Then I make a first if statement. So I check if the age is 18 or more, and then I print like you can drive a car. So in C# we put the condition between a parenthesis. So if age is 18, this is right now, you have to have two equal symbols. This is not okay, you have to have two. And what then happens, I use these curly brackets, and in Visual Studio, if you forgot what is the pairing what, then you can just click here and you have a gray background, and you can see that okay, these are the same, this is the same. Okay, so what happens then? I just write console write line you can drive a car, like this, and then I'll test this. So the age is 18, and if it's so, you can drive a car. Well, this is not good now, because if I change my age to 20 and run it again, it doesn't say anything. So this should be like this, more than 18. So let's check again. So now I'm 20, I'm more than 18, I can drive a car. But if I change this back to 18 and test again, there's nothing. The reason is this is age is more than 18, so it has to be like 19. So I can fix this, for example, like this. So I'm checking that the age is more than 17, but the correct way to do this is like this. So I say more than or equals 18. So now if I try this, it says you can drive a car. Okay, these are called operators, and we have few different operators. So here is equal, so the values are same. This is not equal, more than, less than, and this is like more or equal, more than or equal, and less than or equal, like this. These are the operators we can use in conditions. And then what else? The same goes with string values. So if I make a new variable, declare a new variable string, for example name or right name, the right name is Tommy. So now I can make a new if statement, if right name is Tommy. So exactly the same way, but of course, because we are using strings, we have to have these quote marks. So then we can say console write line, the name is right. And we could continue with else. If it's not, then we type or print to console, the name is not right. Okay, let's check this. So it should print now the name is right. There you go. But this is case sensitive, so if I make this lowercase, this is in capital, this is in lower cases, then this is not the same. So this means that it's not the same if I have a lowercase here and this is with the capitals. Also, if I have totally different name, for example Lauri, and this is not the right name, so the name is not right. Basically, if you are comparing string values, you use operators equal or not equal, but with numbers you have a bit more to choose from. Okay, so the last thing is that I show you the exercises. Here are two new exercises, if statement exercises here, and then we got age exercise. You can rehearse your skills, but I make few parts from here. So create a console program and try to create the following structures. If condition is true, you can print, for example, number 1 and number 2 are equal. So let's try the first one. Declare two variables, number 1 and number 2. Let's go here. I remove the code, make two variables. Int is okay, integer. Number 1 is, for example, 10. Number 2 is 5, like this. Then test if number 1 is equal to number 2. So I test that. Is number 1 equal to number 2? And then if it's, I write the numbers are equal, for example, like this. And then I could, if you want, you can continue. This is not necessary. The numbers are not equal. So let's test. So now if I look at, you should get this, the numbers are not equal. Yeah, and if I will make sure that this condition is true, then I change the numbers just for testing. Both are now 10, so now I should get this message. The numbers are equal. That's it. You don't need necessarily this one. And for example, I comment this line. I choose these 4 lines and press this. So now all these lines are marked as comment, so they don't have any effect now when I run the code. Well, I make those first not equal, like 2. Now there's nothing going to print on console. So it's empty because this condition is not true. This is 10 and this is 2, so not equal. And because these are commented, they don't have any effect on program. Okay, that's the first part. Then you have to declare 3 numbers. So I continue with this one, int number 3, for example 5, and test if all numbers are equal. I first type this in a wrong way, because usually I see something like this. Number 1 is same as number 2 and number 3. But as you can see, there's a syntax error. You can't compare like 3 variables, you can only compare like 2. So you can do this using AND. So we have operators called AND, and this is OR. This OR. So I can do this by, so number 1 and number 2 are the same, and then I test. So if number 1 is same as number 3, so this makes sure that they all are, the value is the same. So let's write let's test. Now I shouldn't see this because they are all different values. Yeah, nothing. It seems okay. And then I make all values to 10. Test again. And now numbers are the same. Okay, great. Then the next one. Make 3 string type variables, example name1, name2, name3. Test if name1 and name2 are equal. So string name, first name, string name2 is, so now I check these, go here, if name1 and name2 are equal, then I say console write line, the names are equal, and then I put this else just to the names are not equal. Okay, so as you can see, even if we have like string values, the condition is pretty much the same. Let's check. So now I should get this, the names are not equal, because the name 1 is Tommy and name 2 is Lauri. The names are not equal. Okay, so you have now 2 exercises. You can practice the if statements. You can Google, you find good YouTube videos about if statements and C#. Some written material also, if you want to read, not look the videos. And I didn't tell you everything about the if statements. We are going to study them together also. But hopefully you have time tomorrow, Tuesday, to study these if statements. We continue with the user input and dig a bit deeper with the if statements here also, but it's good that you have practiced those before. So that's it. Enjoy the coding. Bye.